Chuck,
Yeah, Delnor.
did you know that Natsu's AA is I-10 and Lei Shaw's is I-11? And they're both +2 on hit?
I don't know what any of that means.
You don't know frame data?
Oh, I know frame data, yeah. He's a player from Texas, came from Marvel. He uses MSP and he's really good.
No. Frame data is a very important part of this game and any fighting game. I mean, you need to know at least some numbers if you want to be good.
Did he test the game?
No, Chuck. Frame data is not a person. Here, let me just teach you frame data so that way you're not as confused. And
Please.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do this.
All right.
Not a person.
No, okay.
Got that.
I got it.
Good.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 0 of Quick Steps.
I'm Dreamkiller.
Chuck the Landslide.
And we're going to go back in time to teach you all the caliber terms so that way you aren't lost for future episodes, like this tool is.
Okay. By the way, I do know frame data, and he's a player from California. Stay tuned. So now we are going to talk about zoning. Zoning is a technique used to keep your opponent from attacking you or moving in any direction successfully. And the best way to zone is to find the maximum range of your attacks and keep your opponent there. Here, Siegfried is using his 6B to keep Natsu away at a fairly large distance. He could do the same thing with his 3B. You can see how far it hits. Natsu cannot react at that range.
Zoning is basically you want to use your moves to place your opponent somewhere in the ring where you're more comfortable at. And you want to use it at maximum range or at tip range because there are a lot of moves in the game that push back. So if somebody's coming at you, you want to use a vertical move with pushback to push them away. If somebody's stepping too much, you want to use a horizontal move to keep them in place.
And here, Siegfried uses AGA, which is extremely fast.
Along with 3-3A
And 3A.
to cover step. You're going to find some examples of characters that can't zone. Natsu's a really good one. Her moves have slight pushback, but as you can see here, Siegfried does a lot better job than she does. Natsu's primary concern is just to be in your face, to overwhelm you with a lot of her quick moves, and kill you. She's not worried about zoning or placing you where she wants you to be, she just wants to kill you fast. So now we're going to talk about frames and frame data, which relates to punishment and with punishment. Basically, the game runs at 60 frames a second, and every button that you press, every move that you make has a startup animation. It has frames. Things don't just happen instantly. So here we're watching Siegfried do 3A, which is unsafe, especially to Natsu. And what's important about this is that every move that you have is not going to be safe. A safe moves mean your opponent cannot retaliate after he has blocked the move. A good example of this is Siegfried's AGA, which is totally safe, especially with all that pushback. If Siegfried does 3A, Natsu can KK or AA or 3KK.
For example, Natsu's AA is 10 frames, impact frames. So anything slower than that, with a longer recovery than 10 frames, will get punished. That is a lot of moves in this game. So it's important to know your frame data. It's really important to find out who frame data is. And look it up. Look him up, find him out, because you don't want to be the person getting hit with moves that are unsafe when there are better options out there. Now we're going to talk about whiff punishment. A whiffed attack is an attack that isn't blocked, it doesn't hit, it just completely misses its target. Doesn't matter how safe a move is, if you whiff it, you're probably going to get hit. As an example, here's Siegfried completely whiffing 6B and 3B and getting smashed for it.
You can pretty much whiff punish with anything as long as you're fast enough. So your character has to go through with the move and through with recovery animation. So this is your chance to use your big unsafe moves because your opponent can't block until that move is completed.
The best way to catch a whiff is to quick step or 8-way run, because 8-way running lets you go directly into the move. Best use for whiff punishment. Here it's Natsu's 2-2B, but here is a critical finish.
Yeah, there's Natsu failing super. You get the point though. Now we're gonna dive right into Okazemi and Wake Up. Oki is basically you applying pressure to a grounded opponent who's trying to get up safely. A character like Mitsurugi excels at this really well. As you can see here, Mitsurugi does 3B, and if the opponent tries to get up, he does 2 KB, which is a low natural combo. He also can do 1A, which is a low that hits grounded, and if you think he's going to keep going low, he can just 3B you again. The reason why his Oki is so good is because all of these attacks are damaging and they hit grounded. Astaroth is now going to show you a different example about his Oki.
When Astaroth hits you with 3B, one of the best things he can do is throw you right
or
when you
any
stand up.
knockdown move.
Any knockdown move. He can throw you right when you stand up. And a lot of people can do this too. But he can also combo in a mid with his
if you choose to duck.
6K BB. Yeah, if you choose to duck on Wake Up, you can get hit with that. The big deal with that is that the throw is a high attack and the 6K is a mid, so there's a gigantic mix-up there. And both of them give you really good damage. And Astaroth has command grabs that can really add up. And here, if you lie down on the ground, you might appear to be safe, because both the 6K and the throw, if you don't Brave Edge the 6K, both of them are highs, and they will both go over you when you're on the ground. However, he also has the ability to pick you up off of the ground, and here, it only works if their head is facing towards Astaroth. So this is an example of what happens if you try to grab someone off the ground when their head isn't facing you perfectly. But when you do it correctly, you'll get some good damage, and he'll lift you up off the ground and place you facing him. Perfect situation for another mix-up.
For the attacks that hit grounded, they practically do the same amount of damage as they do when they hit a standing opponent. So you might want to refrain from just lying on the ground unless you know exactly where to roll to avoid the attacks. And some attacks are just not rollable. So you might have to train yourself to see lows like 1A that are slow enough, and you might as well just get up and face the mix-up.
Wake Up is a really dangerous part of the game that relies extensively on character knowledge. So it is very important to know your opponent before trying to guess correctly on Wake Up, because a wrong guess can lead to a lot of extra damage that can be avoided if you just know your opponent. So this is where character research really plays a big part. So here's another example why character knowledge is very important in understanding your matchups. Here, Mitsurugi can launch me with a 3B, and a follow-up 3B can get him some extra damage off the ground, but I know that his weak side is to the up, to his right. So if I roll up, I'm able to avoid it, but if I'm rolling down, I might get hit. His 1A after a launcher will get me hit regardless of what direction I choose to roll. Additionally, Astaroth has the same thing. He can do a 1AA that can hit regardless of the direction the opponent chooses to roll, but his grounded 3B after a 3B can be avoided in either direction during a roll.
You can also choose to wait for his opponent and grab them at the end of the roll animation. You basically want to get into your opponent's head, try and be one step ahead of him, so that way when you guess right, you guess right for big damage. So now we're going to reference frames again, because we're going to be talking about frame traps. A frame trap is a series of moves that, when done in sequence, leaves enough of a gap that an opponent can attack, but the gap is small enough that the move won't get past startup. So here, to show the example, we have Natsu. Natsu's going to hit Patroclus with 6B, and she's going to frame trap it into BK. Knowing some numbers is very important because frames are just basic math. So he's going to try and retaliate with BB, but Natsu's going to catch him with a BK of her own.
Knowing how to frame trap people is a really easy way to stuff people who are more inexperienced in character knowledge and anti-character. So it's a real easy way to expose someone for not doing their homework.
So take your moves that are light on block. For example, Natsu's 3-3K is about 0 or -1, something very light, which can easily frame trap into her AAB string that you will get as a natural combo. Knowing what moves is also very important. Like, for example, not everything on hit is good on hit. So if Natsu does 1-1A, she cannot frame trap into AAB because 1-1A is about -4, -5 on hit. Last but not least, we're gonna cover natural combos and natural combos on counter hit. A natural combo is a series of attacks that is guaranteed against the opponent from the moment it starts. Perfect examples of this attack is AA and BB, Natsu's KK, but most 3-hit strings aren't guaranteed. They're just natural combos on counter hit, meaning the only way to land these attacks is if you frame trap your opponent or get him during a run counter or just get him when he's doing a slow attack.
The exact same is true for Patroclus 6 BBB as shown here. Natsu can block the third B, but can't do it on counter hit. So fishing for counter hits with these attacks is the best way to land them.
So that was it. I hope that cleared everything up for you guys. If not, feel free to comment below and visit 8wayrun.com. Go through the threads and feel free to ask any questions. We'll be more than happy to help for future episodes.
Yeah, and stay tuned next time because we're going to have frame data rolling here and there's going to be some great matches. We're going to go at it. We're going to get some excellent footage. It's going to be awesome.
He is not a person.
He is. I just Googled it and he's from Japan. And he's really good and he's going to come in here and you're going to get scraped.
Help me, Lord.
Watch yourself.
Where is it?
Trying to be like me?
Yo, son, I loved it, okay? Where is it?
Legit.
Thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome. I'm the envy of all.